So we got bigger issues at hand, right? We have the government sticking their noses everywhere as usual, right? We're in the war. We're dealing with Iran. We're dealing with Israel. We have cost of living issues. You know, we have people not being able to live in homes. They have to live in their cars. You know, we have grown men, grown women crying on the internet because things are they're just too tough here in America. And you have a government and you have corrupt politicians that are acting like they're doing things in order to help these people. There's a lot of people that they're actually fooled by this. They still believe in this whole systematic way of the United States. They still believe that. Now, there's another thing that just happened. Trump has passed an executive order in order to accelerate psychedelics here in America. So he believes out of everything that's important right now, to approve of people getting high. That's what he's thinking about right now. After doing all of the missile droppings and the Strait of Hormuz and all of that, he sits down and he says, hey, look, it's time to get the psychedelics in action, right? And he's sitting there at his desk with, 4 other bozos, one of them being Joe Rogan, because they all have this close tie to each other to make each other, encourage each other to make these stupid ass decisions. And it's just it's the moves that they want to make. It's not something that is typically going to help the country at all. It's psychedelics are things that people use in order to forget their problems. It's a way for people to escape reality, right? So here's another thing right here. I believe that Big Pharma are losing sales. They're losing sales to Generation Z. Generation Z has decided that they're not going to take part in all of the alcohol consumption. There has been a massive decline in alcohol consumption thanks to Generation Z. So let's give them a round of applause. That's very good, man. You say, hey, look, man, we not messing with that. If we gotta go out somewhere to have fun or whatever, we're not messing with a bunch of alcohol. And kudos to you for that. So with that being said, if they're not gonna destroy their livers, they're not going to put their internal organs at stake, there's no reason for them to have to go to Big Pharma and get all of these issues of pills and shit in order to kill them faster. You know what I'm saying? So there must be another way. What other way is that? It's to get people onto psychedelics. I mean, of course, there's people right now that, they weed and all of that and, stuff like that. But, those people have always been doing that. But now let's raise the awareness to get other people involved. And these other people that have not been on psychedelics, they just may try it because shit is just that difficult out here that if that could help them get past their next problem, they might want to do it. And what better way for them to be able to accumulate more millions and millions of dollars than to put these psychedelics together with Big Pharma and allow Big Pharma to issue this out to America. That's just my example. I mean, why else would this guy want to pass legislation like that? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. we're dealing with war and oil and all of this, so-called stuff that we need, and all of a sudden now, drugs are important. So I'm saying it's always a agenda or an angle or a money grab with this place, man. It's always like that. And to be quite honest with you guys, there's another reason why. Outside of the issues of not being able to make enough money to pay for where you live, make enough money in order to, be able to feed yourself and your family with the rise in prices. Like, what would he want to dope everybody up for? You know what I'm saying? Like, is something going to happen that we just all have to be doped up, that we don't want to see what's going to transpire? Like, I mean, it's a weird time frame for this shit. So like, what is getting ready to happen that he wants everybody to be aware of psychedelics right now? So you can sit on those two theories, man. You can sit on those two theories, and you could take, whatever one that, you want to go with. Yeah, either one. Big Pharma is in a lane, is losing profit, and they need to figure out another way to get over on the American people, whether it costs them their life or put them in bad health positions. They want to be able to money grab there. Or there, in retrospect, is going to be something very, very crazy that happens here. And everybody needs to be doped the fuck up. Like, get your shit and get doped up, because you don't want to see, or you don't want to feel what's getting ready to transpire. You know what I'm saying? So you could just take both of those and, and go with that, man. But if that's the case, man, like I said, kudos to Generation Z, because I was just talking about, how hard all the other generations are on Generation Z, when in retrospect, they're the ones that are actually, making better moves. I mean, come on. They're turning down the alcohol. The alcohol is one of the most toxic and deadliest forms of consumption that there is in America. And you can't argue with that. Right beside cigarette smoking, of course. But outside of that, it causes so many issues. You have, DUIs, you have, outside of that, DUIs, you have, bad accidents, you have people making, really, illicit decisions, and that all has a lot to do with that. And they decided to say no. So that's great on that part. And now, like I said, it has to be, something else that we must, distract the American people with. Because remember, at first it was, no, we don't want none of that, or no psychedelic, we don't, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? And they was just getting rid of it, just banning it, and, turning every store down, every grower store down, and, all of this. People were getting these stores up, and they was losing money because they would get shut down. But now it's, let's do it. All of a sudden. Now, of course, they're not going to be able to get this going right away, right? With the executive order, it comes in a process. The executive order has to pass through the Congress. The Congress has to see it through. But at the end of the day, the Congress doesn't have to 100% agree with it, because if it's an executive order by the head of the state, it's just going to be something that's just going to be passed, period. But it just has to go across Congress first before the next initial move. But that's where we're headed, man. I mean, it's time to, it's time to get doped up. You don't want to drink no more, so man, focus on the weed, man. Focus on the, you know, and the other, you know, chemicals and stuff like that to put into your system to help you, you know, forget about reality. Because these people know, scientifically, these people know how to program your mind. They know what buttons to push. They know what time within society is the best time in order to make you the best consumer. They've always been successful at that, and that goes with people buying shit, you know, sales, you know, Easter sales, Christmas sales, Thanksgiving sales, Black Friday, so-called Black Friday. They always have these angles in order to get you to consume the something. And this will be no different once they get the psychedelic orders passed. It'll be no different. You know, before you know it, you'll be, you know, getting all doped up. You ain't gonna be able to function correctly. It's already tough for you to think now when you're going through TikTok and you're just, you know, doom scrolling, zoom. You can't use the full function of your neuroplasticity at the highest level as you possibly can, is because, you know, your mind is being controlled and programmed. So along with that, and then doping you up, it's just, I don't know, man. I just not something that I want to see. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, of course there are people that are already doing this, but the angle is to take advantage of the people that have never done it before, but they're in such a financial turmoil, they're in such a financial crisis. Shit, they don't got nothing else left to do but to forget about reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, man. You guys let me know what you think, you know, because this is a very interesting topic. It just kind of hit, you know, the ground floor not too long ago. And I don't know, man. It's the way this country is going is definitely beyond me. So let me know what you guys think. My name is St. Nicholas Brand. Appreciate you guys checking out this video. Until next time, peace.